Do you have a question? Okay, yeah. So welcome everyone. This is like our first director Q&A. It's very, very serious business. No, it's not that serious.
A lot of gravitas in the
but yeah,
I can feel it.
I mean,
No, I'll repeat it. Yeah, you can start and then we'll open it up.
okay, I'm going to start with a really kind of boring question. But what was your favorite part of the? Because I mean, you were involved with like Elliott from inception. It was your idea, your script. You directed it. You edited it. You were very much there throughout the entire process. So, what's your favorite part of the production process, and why?
My favorite part of the production process was probably getting those drafts done. Getting this, I think there were 3.5 drafts. And the question was, what was your favorite part of the production process? Even though I think I restated that into an answer.
Yeah, no, you're good. You don't need to like do it word for word. It's just, yeah.
Alas, because I had just dumped a first draft, and I think my cast could tell that it was a dumped first draft. And from there, the cast and I collaborated, and we went over each draft as it stood. And what we did was that we would read them over word for word, get a feel for it, and then we would go over and over again, and then we would stray further and further away from what was on the page, so much so that our actors were completely in character, just improving, pulling like past memories that weren't out in the script, and that really formed the final draft as it stood. And as you mentioned, I was part of every part, but like at heart, I'm a screenwriter, so just having a great screenplay is like my personal goal. So that's the answer.
All right, cool. Okay, next question. Okay, this is a weird one. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized Merediths or 1 horse-sized Elliott? Maybe I should have saved that one for that one. Think about.
1 horse-sized Elliott, because he can't even dare disturb the universe. I don't know why he dare disturb me. So I would rather fight the horse-sized Elliott.
You didn't need to think about that long. That was just like instantaneous.
Oh no, it's been in my head. Like that's actually part of the script writing process. When you go to your leads, like who would you rather fight in what permutation of your lead? Good script writing tip.
All right, yeah. So any unexpected challenges that you encountered during the film process, and how did you deal with them?
Yes. One of them was the second night we shot. We dedicated pretty much the entire night to that first shot, the first like 3-minute shot. And we had 2 actors that we wanted to say the last 2 lines of that shot. I was on top of him, infamous line. And we didn't have like enough extras. We actually ran out just because there were so many people in that process that we needed to come up with something. And I went, oh, let's just have Jess and Grace say the lines, because not only are they available to do it, but also it's like a really cool way to introduce them as characters, because we don't really see Jess, who plays Bianca, until like halfway through the script, even though she's a integral part to the movie. And I thought this was just a cool way to introduce her. And another one was the second bedroom scene with Tyler and Jess. And if anyone wants to ask about me that after the show, please do so. And that's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the audience. Questions and stuff. I might jump in later, but yeah, I'll start in the front. Austin.
So during this process, when you were writing and shooting and stuff, did you have any films or directors in mind that really played an influence on you during this whole thing?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So a few directors I had in mind. One of just any directors that use long takes. Martin Scorsese, Paul Thomas Anderson, Alfonso Cuarón. Because I don't like cuts, and I try to limit them as far as possible. In your too, another one obviously, and I wanted to kind of make that a focal point of the film. Another movie, I'm not sure the director, but another movie that inspired me was Human Capital, which is an Italian film from 2012, I think, where a lot of the plot kind of cuts back and forth in its timelines, and a big part of it is perspective. So you'll see a scene coming from one shot and you think you know it, but then later on you see it from another shot and you realize that the situation is completely different. And that's super important in Elliott, especially at the end. And also the black and white, I think, was primarily influenced by Francis Ha. I just liked the aura of the movie and the aesthetic of the movie, both visually and just the tone. And I think it would complement my film as well. If you follow me on Letterboxd, Brent Leoni, I actually have a list that says films that inspired my project. I call it, because I made the list in like November. So if you want to check that out, that's like a full list for you.
Yes.
So obviously the music was a really important part of Elliott, and to kind of partition the different moods and different spaces nicely. But like, how did you decide on which music to use, and where in the process did your choices of music come in? Was it always there? Did you always know what songs you wanted to play and when? And how?
So how did I decide what music to play? These are great questions. All of the songs that I chose, I had just gotten into in the past year, except for the first one, the Smith song, Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now, but that's been there for a while. A couple of the songs, that one and Put Your Money on Me, were kind of thematic choices. I wanted Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now to be kind of a like a foreshadowing. I know there's one line in it called Two lovers entwined pass me by, and Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now. I tried to like sync that up with Kirsten walking in the apartment that first time, to kind of foreshadow, because the next time she walks in, two lovers entwined will pass her by, and pretty miserable, right? And with Put Your Money on Me, I definitely wanted that as kind of a very ironic ending, because the whole theme of the song is you can trust me, you know, I have your back, whereas that's not actually the case. You find out in the end of it. The other ones, I just really liked the mood and the tone of them. I told my cast before that I wanted this movie to have the best soundtrack since Garden State. And I hope I accomplished that. Or I don't think it's much of an accomplishment just choosing songs that I didn't even get the copyright for, but it's my movie, so yeah.
More questions? Yes.
How many rewrites did you do for your script, and what was the hardest part of writing the script?
So we had 3 drafts of the script. So 2 rewrites. And the hardest part of it, I think, was getting the middle part down, because there were a lot of moving pieces and we want to make it feel as organic as possible. There were a lot of scenes that I knew I wanted. I just needed to get the right words on the paper. But for that middle part, where you're getting a lot of plot points down and you're kind of moving the story forward, I think that was the toughest, just trying to make it feel as authentic and as poetic, I guess, as, you know, the more like all the monologues and, you know, those climactic moments. Just kind of like, you never want any scene to be worse than another. I always try to tell myself. Yeah. Any more?
Yeah.
Did you like use any particular structure when you were writing it? Like, did you follow like the 3-act structure and like all of that? Or?
Yes, I did. I like to think the first act ends with, the first act probably ends with when, I know I've been switching between characters and actors. When Elliott and Meredith go in the room, the main culmination, the halfway point is when they leave, and the third act starts when Meredith leaves, and the climax. I think there were actually 2 climaxes. I call it the 1-2 punch. That's those. So that was definitely my structure. I was actually my first draft. I guess there were 4 drafts of it, but I lost the first draft because don't trust Celtics online because they will lock you out of your scripts. The first draft was a much looser, a lot more atmospheric, a little more aimless, and that one didn't have a structure. But once I found a story to kind of latch onto and build around, that's when I followed that structure while still trying to have a more very vibey, very like a very smooth flow, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So how long did that first draft take you?
The first draft, I'll just say the first. Do you want me to say the very first one that was lost, or the first one that we worked off of?
I guess from the sort of inception of the idea.
Okay. So it was tough because I think that was maybe in like October. My very first draft was, and I'd say that took about a week or 2 because I didn't really know what the project was. I was just trying stuff out. So I would have a line of dialogue here, a line of dialogue there, plot point there. The first draft that we worked off of, 40 minutes, just went to the Cook Student Center and just typed it all out. Just got it all out there.
Yep.
Where did this story come from for you, like emotionally? What drove it? What inspired it?
I wanted to do a movie that did 2 things. I wanted to do a movie where there was a long take where a character walked in an apartment to an apartment party, not necessarily apartment warming party, but just a party in an apartment. I just wanted that long take. I wanted the feel, and I wanted for that character to open the door and music just envelopes both the character and the viewer. And I also wanted to do a movie where indie rock's played at parties, because indie rock is never played at parties, and this was my opportunity. Thank you. Emotionally, I was kind of in like maybe not a helpless point, but I just felt like I couldn't really make that many contributions, and I feel like if I ever kind of stepped into a room, then I would kind of ruin the fabric of it. And I think that's where the quote, "Do I dare disturb the universe?" comes from, by T.S. Elliott, which, you know, kind of shares the name of the title of the movie. The spelling of Elliott's a little different, but, you know, that's semantics. And yeah, just the idea of somebody like, you're just like walking into a party to get your jacket because you forgot your jacket, and your ex is walking away with someone. It just that idea of just ruining the fabric of walking into the room. And what better way to channel that through like such an imposing medium that is cinema. So it was like a nice medicine, I guess. and I'm cured. I'm cured, everybody.
So I guess if any last, this is like 3 questions in a row. Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
It's 2 questions in a row.
Oh,
Three
it's
questions
2. Oh, 3
total.
questions total. Yeah.
Can you speak about the significance of the movie posters we saw?
Yes. Yeah, we got what we
Specifically
got.
Mulholland Drive, I dare.
Well, we also got what La La Land. There was.
JB.
We got what Juno Diaz. Well, I mean books. Like we got Juno Diaz. We got Twin Peaks.
Mulholland Drive.
Springsteen album.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll just like go down the line there with that. So the posters. Okay, so I can talk. So with the posters, there's some stuff I'll leave out. I'll leave up to your interpretation, and some stuff I can definitely concretely talk to you about. Now, why I think La La Land and Mulholland Drive in conjunction are important because they're both movies about people trying to break into Hollywood. And as somebody whose dream it is to break into Hollywood, that's almost like my calling card. You know what I mean? That's kind of like my, listen, you know, like, if you want to hit me up at all. And also, the 2 movies have a lot to do with dreams. La La Land is, you know, here's to the fools who dream. Mulholland Drive, and specifically just Lynch in general, is always about putting a dreamlike atmosphere, and I wanted that dreamlike atmosphere. And we played music like Cocteau Twins and Slowdive, who are under the genre dream pop. So
Shoegaze is a subgenre of dream pop. Right? Yeah. That's,
Shoegaze is dead.
And so that's for the posters. There are some narrative similarities, I think, between those 2 and my movie that I won't go into depth with. But with, say, the Juno Diaz book, I kind of wanted this movie, among a lot of things, to be a great movie about New Jersey. And I feel like what better way to describe New Jersey than to talk about music in college housing while your roommate is seeing a show in Brooklyn. It's like this weird duality to it where you're so far away, but if you just take the train, you're just right in the heart of it all. And Juno Diaz, who is famously puts it in all his work, a New Jersey writer, I just kind of I wanted that. And to go farther with New Jersey Bruce, that's actually one, not mistake, but one circumstance that I didn't attempt for. I just, luckily, Kirsten just kind of flipped through until got to the Bruce part of my collection, which is, to be fair, a substantial part. And I thought it was just kind of like, in a way, it's kind of me going, okay, I was joking. Bon Jovi isn't actually New Jersey's prodigal son, because if it would be, you would have his records. Like, that would be why. So that's just like to kind of confirm it was a joke, and also just another layer of making it a New Jersey movie.
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up soon, I think. But if we have a lot of the cast here. If anyone has questions for any of the cast members, I mean, do you guys want to answer questions at all? Not from the cast,
Yeah.
but if people want to ask the cast.
Or Tyler, because he did like, I knew kind of like, I had the abstract vision, but he really got the nuts and bolts down. So if anyone has nuts and bolts question, he can't tell you why there's a Juno Diaz book in the scene, but he can tell you other things. I don't know.
All right. Well, do we have?
Yeah, just for the cast, how can the director help you give better performances? Like, what would you say? Like, how can he change the atmosphere or like give you pointers on different things? Would you say to help you get a better performance? So any of the things.
Want to go sit? You can.
I think it was the album.
I mean, we've got like 20 people.
Well, I mean, what about him?
We don't need to film this part. I think we're kind of
Yeah,
winding down with.
Do we go up there?
if you want to.
I mean, you can
I don't
answer
have
it from
to
if
say.
you're more comfortable from your.
Everything
it's
is
like
set already, so if you
I
want to
know.
go
I know.
out
This looks
and
really
look cool,
formal and
feel
stuff. I
free.
don't want to.
All I'll say
Bye,
is
John.
that
Let's see it. I'm going.
Brent, I was not very chill when I started. He was like, you know what? Be more chill. I was like, this kind of chill or that kind of chill? It's like that kind of chill. And it just it would have been a different mood if he hadn't told me what mood he wanted. You know, so we can just create that directly by saying this is the mood, and then the actor's like, okay.
Yeah, kind of building off that, like specificity is very, very helpful because if you say that the mood of a scene is like supposed to be kind of sad and melancholic, there are different levels of sad, if that makes any sense. So for a director to tell an actor, oh, just be more sad, it's like, okay, to what degree? What type of sad? Is it like sad, like I'm kind of down in the blue sad, or is it more just like I'm crying my eyes out because of a destroyed sad? I mean, part of that is down to script interpretation on the actor's part, but the other part of that is director specificity. And for them to say what they want from an actor as directly fun as possible.
Yeah, my movie's tone ranges between the both spectrums of sadness. It's just like my movie. It's not only is it this type of sad, but it's also that type of sad. You get everything.
Any other questions, or I think we'll probably start wrapping up then. If people are always welcome to hang around, talk. If they have any questions, they want to come up individually.
Thank you.
All the cast members, thank you so much.